Sandbox survival games. Seems like a pretty niche genre, right? You got sandbox games, pretty cool. Survival games, that's the good shit. Sandbox survival? It sounds so niche, but if that's the case, why have they been absolutely exploding within the past decade? Why are survival sandbox games so popular? So first, a history lesson, and to do that, let's define what a sandbox survival game is first. A sandbox game is a game that allows players to really get creative with the way they play. You know, the limit is your imagination. Naturally, of course, the limit for most is a dick, including myself. The term comes from the idea that in a real-world sandbox, you can create whatever you want out of sand. Meanwhile, a survival game is a game where there's always a constant threat in the environment and your goal is to survive. Secondary goals, such as bosses and exploration, are also goals in many survival games. It is important to note that not all survival games have the main threat be nature. With that out of the way, let's talk about old school games, arcade games. We're going all the way back. Let's look at the first survival game ever, Pac-Man. You're immediately thrown into a hostile environment and need to swiftly escape multiple algorithmically competent ghosts that are coming to kill you. Your main objective? Survive. Survive as long as you can. Getting those pellets isn't worth much if you're dead now, is it? You need to live. I mean, with this broad definition of survival, most games with a playable character and death would qualify, since usually the objective is to, not die. So let's tighten our definition of survival to only include specifically open world dangerous environments. Camping simulators with crafting and torches and lots of wood. Usually with some hostile NPCs sprinkled in, or some other danger like hunger, thirst, weather, nightmare demons, etc. The first one of these in modern history was Stranded by Unreal Software in 2003. And from what I can tell, it wasn't that popular. I mean, I've certainly never heard of it, and you've probably certainly never heard of it, which I think goes to show the little relevance that these camping-style survival games had at the time. Part of that was obviously, software limitation. Anyway, the point is that not a lot of people played survival games. Now that that's over, let's go back to the first ever sandbox game, which was Space Trading and Combat Games Elite 1984, which is blah blah blah. This doesn't matter because we all know sandbox games were always popular. There's something intrinsically enjoyable about creating something. Not just the pride you feel afterwards, but actually when you're creating it. I mean, this isn't new or anything, people have been literally creating things since the birth of mankind, but it is neat to see how it was translated into video games. In video games, there are no real world limitations like economics. You don't have to worry about how much money you can put into a bridge. When you play pure sandbox games, where the focus is purely creativity, you have full control. That feeling of power pumps through your veins as you play this, and it's a high that most sandbox games rely on, even the ones that aren't purely sandbox. And that brings us back to survival games. Games where you have to survive on your own in a hostile environment. You're free in the manner in which you want to survive, but you're still restricted by your need to survive. You're so restricted. Two more different genres are hard to come by. Quick tangent here, so I didn't really do a good job in my original script at explaining what I meant by sandbox game. When I reference sandbox games, I mostly mean games where things can be constructed or built with a great sense of freedom in that manner. I'll bring up a document here that summarizes a different view of sandbox games quickly to try and mitigate the confusion. This is just the end paragraph. You can pause if you want, there'll be a link in the description, whatever, but to sum it up, it says that a sandbox game is any game that incorporates any level of freedom. This is a common idea of a sandbox game, but I honestly just don't really agree with it. I don't know, I mean, particularly open world games like Skyrim and GTA I just wouldn't really consider sandbox games. There's stuff to do, yeah, and you're free in how you want to handle it and what you want to handle first, but that applies to almost every video game ever. If a game didn't have any freedom at all, it'd literally just be a fucking movie. You'd just be sitting there watching it. I just don't see how by this logic you can separate a game like the Walking Dead game from an actual sandbox game. Maybe I'm completely missing something here, but I don't know. Nah, to summarize, I consider sandbox games to be like an art form. Whether it be technical engineering, voxel, more technical engineering, penises, the fuck is going on here? Architecture, landscape, more penises, and whatever I can really appreciate as art. For the purpose of this video, these are sandbox games, and these aren't. Remember, this is just for the rest of the video, like to clarify some stuff. I hope it helped. Are we more confused? Are you writing an angry comment about how I'm wrong? Look, this is just my definition for the video, okay? Anyway, back to you, Pat. 2009. It's called Infiniminer. It has Sandbox mode.
There's also a Sandbox mode, wherein players can work together to create awesome designs and structures by taking advantage of the malleability of the game's tile-based dirt system. There are buildings to construct, TNT to detonate, and fun times to be had by all.
If you've been on the internet within the past 10 years, you might know what Minecraft is. This was the direct inspiration to Minecraft. Notch essentially crafted Minecraft using sandbox and survival elements. Originally, Minecraft was too just a sandbox game, but soon it gained its biggest difference to Infiniminer. In Minecraft, the objective was survival. So why then, only a year later, did a sandbox survival game spike in popularity over the normal sandbox game which it was inspired off? Here's the thing about survival games. Every single survival game has at least some sandbox element. There's minimal customization, but you still get to place down where a pre-designed building, or customize where a pre-designed wall goes where. See, that's the key to all of this. These two game types complement each other perfectly. The survival elements give the sandbox elements a far greater purpose. Building a castle in classic Minecraft is far less rewarding than building one in the current Minecraft, because you did so to survive, to actually live in, not just for the sake of building it. The survival element makes the building process more fun and makes the product feel more rewarding, both because it was made with purpose and because it was more of a challenge when you don't have the power of fucking God. Likewise, the sandbox elements give the survival elements a greater purpose, or, when Minecraft just came out, literally the only purpose aside from exploration. Let me ask you, what do hardcore Minecraft players do when they beat the Ender Dragon? They still continue to play the game, so what do? Exactly, they build shit. They keep on building shit forever and forever until they die. Keep in mind, Minecraft isn't special for just creating this formula, but actually creating a method to use it, being the blocky mess we all know. Now we pass into other games with these two genres mixed. You can call them Minecraft copies all you want, I won't stop you. But if you do, make sure it isn't just the blocky ones, it's the ones that use the survival sandbox formula.
Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formuoli.
Can you really blame them though? If games have an interesting concept to bring to the table, who cares if they use the same formula to achieve a good game? Minecraft isn't everything, and it isn't the best of the bunch, it's just a pioneer. So now we got Minecraft on the top of the world, combining survival with sandbox. Suddenly, other games start popping up as well with these attributes, and they also get popular. But not because they directly copied Minecraft, they just used this new genre, which already sort of existed, its potential just wasn't shown off. Now, they got popular because people literally around the world started to witness how fun this game style was. Minecraft soon peaked in popularity in 2013 and has since been a staple of the genre. It declined in popularity, of course, but the genre it spawned didn't decline. It's just that new innovative titles were coming out with more exploration, different tools to build new games. I won't go in depth about video game consumerism, but as a brief description, the idea is that lots of people buy new games for the sake of owning the new game until it gets outdated in a couple of months by what's new again. I'm not going to say whether I think video game consumerism is good or bad, I'm just saying it exists. And the reason I'm saying it exists is because it, like all video game genres over a lengthy period of time, affected the survival sandbox genre. However, the effect of video game consumerism has had a far less profound effect on survival sandbox games than, say, the shooter genre. And this isn't just because the shooter genre is more popular. If it's a test for popularity, then Minecraft has it covered. Nah, it's for more reasons than that. Reason A. Sandbox games generally have a lot of staying power and replay value. Naturally, when the limit is your imagination, there's no limit to what you can build and do and play. But the thing is with staying power is that the popular sandbox games all have to have different building mechanics. Blocks, 2D blocks, polygons, whatever. A new game with just a texture pack on Minecraft won't be a more popular version of Minecraft than Minecraft. The same cannot be said about modern shooters, where new games that are more popular are basically just retextures. For a new, fresh survival sandbox game to become popular, it needs to have an interesting and, more importantly, new way of building. And this is why I don't think a lot of Minecraft clones deserve the reputation they get as Minecraft clones. They did something new with the genre. Reason B. Because of the nature of sandbox games, it's often difficult to finally design a building piece the way, say, a AAA company would like to. Because of this, most new survival sandbox games are made from indie teams who embrace this visual style, while the AAA companies focus on fine-tuning textures.
Look at the graphics on that! Look at the graphics on that game!
Reason C. Reputation. Similar to Reason A, but the reputation these games hold can often be very off-putting for a new developer to try making new games similar to. But more importantly than that is that it keeps old players and brings in new ones. This is likely the reason to Minecraft's current resurrection. Reputation. As the globe remembered the power of survival sandbox games, they came to what games already established themselves. Like I said, a game may be better than Minecraft at being Minecraft, or better than Astroneer at being Astroneer, but that doesn't matter. Reputation and new ways of building are either too eccentric and weird, or too costly for indie developers and too risky for the bigger companies. And that's kinda sad, and also the end of the story. Few games will monopolize this whole genre, and they aren't the best, but the first at what they did, which isn't too bad. I mean, much like copyright was made to protect intellectual property, regardless of the quality. Two, should the independent thinkers and creative minds who came up with the ideas for these building methods be the ones actually profiting and garnering reputation. That doesn't mean other games with similar building styles don't exist. It's just, they're usually called clones and forgotten about. However, I do want to say that games using the exact same building method aren't always copies and aren't always bad, and you should give them an actual try. They usually introduce something new, like a new environment or new bosses with different boss patterns. Starbound, for example, isn't Terraria. They're similar, and yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious that Starbound takes inspiration, but they aren't the same game. When you play both, you get a similar yet different experience. It's like a part 2. But that's the thing with the survival sandbox genre. They have so much replayability that a part 2 isn't needed. So, survival sandbox games are everywhere. I can't even play fucking Roblox anymore without these damn things coming up. I think as a good conclusion to this, you should take away one thing. Sandbox as a genre is better as an addition to an already existing genre. Giving the sandbox element purpose and the other genre purpose as well will always be better than just, you know, a sandbox game, creating stuff, building stuff. A game I've been reluctant to talk about has been Fortnite. With my initial description of survival way back, it fit the bill since obviously the objective is to survive through any means necessary, but the game still isn't a survival game. At its core, it is a multiplayer shooter with, get this, sandbox is a subgenre. Again, like Minecraft, the shooter element gives purpose to the sandbox element. In a different way than Minecraft, sure, you're certainly not trying to make everything look pretty in Fortnite. Usually the better you are at building means the more intelligent and quick your builds are. It isn't as Imagine Made in Heaven as Minecraft, but it's, you know, still pretty cool. So this is the point of the video, the message, the answer to the question in the title and the start of the video. Why are sandbox survival games so damn popular? Well, the answer is nostalgia. It isn't killing that cool boss or getting good loot like an RPG. The answer is in the way that main two genres complement each other. They're fun intrinsically. That is why survival sandbox games are popular. Alright, this video is the first of its kind for me on this channel, and I really want some thoughts. It took a lot of time to research and write the script and record audio, edit audio, record footage, edit the actual video, spend 3 hours contemplating whether or not I should just scrap the video or actually upload it. It'd really be helpful if anyone watching this gave me some advice for this video. I'm pretty new, obviously, to this style of video, but I really enjoyed making it, and I hope it was worth a watch. Anyway, that's all from me. Till next time.